Hello neighbors, it's Brad here from Etrailer, and today I'm in Boyden, Iowa at the Demco headquarters and manufacturing facility where we got to see Demco products made. And these are all products that I handle on a daily basis when doing flat tows, fifth wheels, or even couplers. They cover so many different towing products, and they have plenty of experts here to break down some of their products a little bit more, to give you some understanding, as well as allow me to ask those questions on products that I handle every day. So Verlin, if you have a short bed truck, you can tow with a fifth wheel all the same as a long bed, right?
Well,
Kind of.
it all depends on the trailer and how cab friendly your corners are on the front of the trailer. But in most cases, if you've got a 6.5 foot bed or even a 5.5 foot bed, you're going to have some type of sliding hitch to move that trailer back when you're making those tight corners.
So if I'm, kind of in a situation where I see it getting close to my cab corner, how does the slider work?
Okay, so here we're standing in front of our manual slider. So in this particular instance, the driver would have to hop out. They're just going to pull this lever here, and that disengages it from lock forward. They'd set the trailer brakes and then pull that truck forward, and then it'll lock in its rear position. Now they can make any kind of maneuvers they want. We went ahead and moved back 14 inches to give them extra cab clearance, is what we just did there.
So that, with really any combo of fifth wheel trailer, that should give you the clearance.
Yes.
No damage should occur.
Right, correct.
And then, so after, gas station or the campsite where it's a tight turn, you make that turn, this needs to go back in its original position.
Yep, absolutely. Again, driver's got to jump out and just kind of reverse what we just did. Flip the lever back this way, hold the trailer brakes again, and then just back up with the truck, and it's going to lock into the tow position is what we call this.
Okay, and then as far as application, this is OEM prep?
Yeah, this happens to be OEM prep, but actually one of the key things that Demco does is, people are trading trucks all the time. So you'll notice these side plates are just bolted on. So we can actually go into a Demco rail mount, we can go into a Demco underbed mount, and then we can go into all the factory prep systems as well. It's just a matter of changing out these side plates.
Okay, well, say, I don't want to get out of my truck, it's raining or whatever to make that turn. There's ways you can omit that.
Absolutely. So then we hop into what we call our automatic sliding series hitch. So we'll move on over here. We actually have 3 different options there. We have a 13,000 pound tow capacity. That one's really meant for your half-ton pickups with the 5.5 foot bed. That's going to move further faster. And then we have our 18 and 21,000 pound capacities. Those are more designed for your F250, 350, and your 2500 series from Ram and GM.
And okay, so how does it auto slide? That one has a handle obviously, but if I don't have to do anything, how does it mechanically work?
All right, so you'll see on the top of the head of the hitch, we have these what we call capture plates. They're kind of built into the head of the hitch. And these are adjustable, so depending on the width of your pin box, when you hitch up, you're going to adjust this to about a 1/16 of an inch away from each side of the pin box. It's a one-time set unless you're pulling multiple trailers. But if you're pulling the same trailer, it's a one-time set. It allows you to be able to slide in and out. But what we do then is the pin box is captured here in the head of the hitch. And the head is actually going to rotate with the trailer. And as the head rotates, it drops into a rack and pinion gear system. You'll see we've got 3 bolt heads on each side here. And there's a rack gear here, and then there's a big main gear here. And as that turns, the gear engages, and the more you turn, the more it slides. And it'll do that in forward or reverse. So as you're backing up, you're going, how's my head going to go forward when I'm backing up? Mm-hmm. Well, we're just going to go right walking back down that gear track, and the head will return right back to the home position when you're straight.
Now these capture plates, obviously adjustability, are there limitations as far as what kingpin you can attach to?
We do have a few limitations. We try to eliminate that as much as possible, but some of our suspension style pin boxes, we do need a separate capture plate. And the reason for that is a suspension style pin box, your kingpin plate usually moves separately from the rest of the pin box. And so sometimes these will interfere with that movement action. So then we put a wedge behind the kingpin. But any of your standard non-suspension pin box, good to go right here. Nothing else needed.
Okay. Now, the 13K you mentioned is for the half ton, and it operates in a slightly different way.
It does. So we'll talk a little bit about the 13K. You'll notice the head of the hitch is identical to the 18 and 21K, but the base of the hitch is quite different. So what we learned, a lot of your half-ton campers that are designed to be half-ton toll built behind your pickup, they've got an extended pin box on them already. So as the head of the hitch turns, sometimes you can get the back of that pin box into the side of the pickup, especially if you've got like tonneau cover rails or you got the decorative rails on top of the bed. So what this hitch does is as you turn, it's going to select the correct track and it'll move over 2 3/4 inches. And what it does is it pulls the back of that pin box away from your tonneau cover rails or your decorative bed rails so you don't have a collision there. And this one's going to slide back a little bit more. This one's 21.5 inches in slide, so it's going to move back further faster than our 18 and 21K hitch. Got the wraparound jaw system as well with a lock bar that goes across the side there to keep everything nice and secure.
Why is that something that someone would want?
It's an extra added security for number one, and number two, we go fully around 360 degrees around that kingpin, so we help eliminate some of the chucking. You're probably familiar with some competitors. They've got more of the clamshell style, and that just gives a little more opportunity for chucking to begin rather than a full wraparound.
Well, and we actually got the chance to see this manufactured today at their facility.
Awesome.
And it's really cool, the technology that goes into it. Great company, family owned. A lot of love put into this.
Absolutely. Demco stands behind all their hitches, made right here in Boyden, Iowa.
And that's another thing too. I mean, you get people that have been in the industry for as long as they have, again, family owned, American made. It's really hard to beat. And the fact that it's an auto slide, again, if you're going to be towing a fifth wheel quite often, and you do have to make those sharp turns, everyone says, oh, I'll be fine. Well, you get yourself into 1 or 2 pickles and you don't want to get out of the truck, you can solve that problem with the auto slide.
Absolutely.
So, huge thanks to Verlin for taking the time to show us the Demco auto slide as well as their sliding recon.